has taken over. Let's go. It's Ferrall. Coast to coast. Steaks, chicks, stacks. You and I are going to make a lot of money. It's Ferrall, coast to coast.
And we are back, hour number 3, Ferrall Coast to Coast, here on a Thursday. Carver High here with you. Of course, we have the PGA Championship opening round going on down at Quail Hollow. And let's go take a trip down there because our man Keith Stewart from Read the Line, of course, is there. It's more than a Golf Wednesday when it's a major. And Keith is there at Quail Hollow. Hi, Keith. How are you? What's going on down there?
Mike, I'm fantastic. I'm a little better than the mood in the interview room, but I'm sure you're going to get to that. Me, it's a beautiful day down here to play golf, and it's getting a little steamy out there. We had 5 inches of rain over the last 5 days. It's starting to come out of the ground. It's 85 degrees, pretty humid, but perfectly entertaining this afternoon out on the golf course.
Yes, very entertaining. And look, we have had, I've obviously been watching all day. Now, look, some of our stars have struggled, obviously, which we're going to talk about. And the top of the leaderboard is a little, if you're a fair weather fan that only tunes in for the majors, probably leaves a little bit to be desired right now on Thursday. But I have seen, 4 putts over 60 feet. We saw a hole-in-one like about 45 minutes ago with Eric Cole. We've seen some fireworks, Keith. I mean, there's been some fun golf out there.
I mean, let's start with the guy who's leading right now, Cam Davis. He started on the back nine, right? And, the middle of this golf course is where you're going to score. Like holes 7 through 15 is where you're going to make your hay. And then, it's a tough start and hold on at the end for the green mile. But he goes birdie back-to-back on holes 18 and then 1. And then he goes and birdies both the par 3s on the front. That second par 3 on the front's like 240 yards. This guy is like totally dialed in, and he's birdieing all of the impossible holes. It's really fun to watch.
It certainly is. Now, before we get to Scotty and Rory and these other guys, the top of this board, you mentioned Cam Davis, Ryan Gerard, who bogeyed 17 or 18. He was at 7 under at one point today. Luke Donald, who's trying to set up a captain versus captain singles match at Bethpage against Keegan Bradley coming up in September. Ryan Crazy Like a Fox. Alex Smalley, who wasn't even in the tournament 24 hours ago. Jaeger Bombs. I mean, listen, not household names. Is there anyone out of this group that's at 4 or 5 under right now, Keith, that you think legitimately might be around on Saturday and Sunday?
The simple answer to that, Mike, is no. They're just not going to be there. Ryan Gerard isn't going to be the 5th guy from North Carolina to win a major championship. He's just not. Luke Donald, he's not walking through that door. You talk about the Ryder Cup thing. Hey, this morning I looked at the pairing, and the PGA of America does this because they run the U.S. side of the Ryder Cup. And they had Keegan with Andrew Novak and Mav McNeely, right? Like 2 possible rookies for Bethpage. And they wanted to put him with Keegan in a big major championship and see how they would react. Well, Keegan beat those guys today. Keegan shoots in the 60s, and Novak and McNeely, who played well, they both shot under par. They both shot 70. But that was supposed to be kind of the story from a Ryder Cup perspective. You got Luke Donald and Keegan Bradley, who both shot in the 60s. Now, active captains of Ryder Cup teams have only done that 5 times, and the last guy to do it was Furyk in a major in 2018. So, at the PGA Championship, for these guys in their 40s to be shooting in the 60s and be active Ryder Cup captains is a really big deal, and it's a fun storyline. It's not going to be there forever. Maybe Keegan, 47 years old, Luke Donald, I'm not sure, but he's making the most of his special exemption right now.
Obviously, Keith Stewart from Read the Line is with us from Quail Hollow. A lot of focus was put on this main featured group that went out early this morning, the top 3 players in the world all playing together. Scotty Scheffler, Xander Schauffele, and Rory McIlroy. All had kind of different days in their own. Scotty ends up, of course, on the good side. He's only a couple, he's right in the mix. He's 2 under. Rory's 3 over. Xander's finished at 1 over. I watched the 3 of them, Keith, all make an absolute mess out of that 16th hole. They all double bogeyed it. Scotty was able to recover. Rory, not so much.
Well, I doubt there's many times as a professional that Scotty has made double and he kept the honor on the next tee box. But he did it today from the 16th to the 17th. People are going to get into it. There was no preferred lies today. So We've had all the rain. In the opening, I said 5 inches in the last 5 days here. The fairways have been soft. Xander and Scotty, they caught some bad luck there. They caught some mud balls, and we saw what happened. Mud puts a rudder on the golf ball, and sometimes it's tough to control. Golf is a sport that's played outdoors. They both made double bogey there. Rory was just all over the place today. And then when he needed the putter, he absolutely did not get it. He lost over 2 strokes with the flat stick today. I think the only guy at the end of the day that's going to be more disappointing than Rory is going to be JT, because a lot of people were loving him and backing him for sure, because it makes sense. He won the RBC. He won here in 2017. But as far as the big three go, it's Scotty being Scotty. Scotty says it's about as bad as I could have played today. He's still 2 under, and, the leader will probably be 5 or 6 at the end of the day.
Yeah, and look, Scotty is still, he's a little bit shorter than what he was when he teed off. He's at plus 350. I just checked right now as the favorite, obviously. We always talk about opportunities. I know Rory was awful. He's 9 shots back now. 33-1 is not a number you normally see for Rory after the first round of a tournament. Any chance of nibbling, Keith, on 33-1 with Rory?
It deserves a sprinkle, Michael. It certainly does. You're never going to get Rory on a golf course where he's won 4 times. The winner of this thing, let's say if it ends up being between 12 and 14 under par, then what you're telling me is that he's got to have 1 nuclear round and then 2 very good rounds in order to get back into the mix. I definitely think that he has the firepower to do it, especially on this particular golf course. So let me categorize that by saying if we were somewhere else, Oakmont or something, and he was that far behind, so be it. But the conditions here and his ability on this golf course to separate with that driver, for sure. And the driver, it was all over the place a little bit today, but still, Rory could come back at 33. That's a huge number on him. I could definitely be talked into that. The guy that's impressed me the most this afternoon is Victor. And I was on Victor pre-tournament, and, Victor looks really dialed in, and he's making those short putts, and he's playing aggressively like he does when he feels good about his iron game. He's got that move going where he's really hitting the driver super straight. Victor, to me, is somebody who just looks very, very steady, which would be scary for the field, because then he can just keep doing his thing, 5 under a day. Next thing you know, he's 16 under, and he wins, the 107th PGA championship.
Still sitting at 25-1 right now, Victor, as he's at 2 under right now, still playing the course. Bryson, of course, was the other big favorite here, and he's just kind of been going steady along, Keith. He's still sitting at even, been parring every hole. What have you seen from him quickly? 1 minute left.
Well, he started out tough, but that's the hard part of the golf course. Then he comes into 7 through 15 where he's sitting right now. He needs to make a couple birdies in this zone and then hang on through the green mile. If he does that, then you have to feel very good about his chances to be the guy that's going to maybe jump up on Friday morning, because these guys, this is the PM AM wave. These guys are going to play 36 contiguous holes. They're going to be back first thing tomorrow morning when it isn't as windy. It's a little breezy out there right now, and the greens are getting a little bit crusty. The greens are going to be the story this week, Michael. They're absolutely perfect. Guys are making putts. You talked about the 60-footers because the roll is so good, but guys are missing putts from very close range. So that, to me, you and I talked about it on Golf Wednesday. You had to be a good putter here. Good putters can actually make putts, and it's going to make a difference. Keep backing those guys that can roll the rock.
20 seconds, Keith. So you think the guys going out early tomorrow will have the better of the conditions on Friday?
Absolutely, yes. The wind is definitely – they're going to be the same as today. The wind's going to pick up in the afternoon. I think they're going to have the best version of the greens for sure.
Keith, we will see you again tomorrow from Quail Hollow. Keith Stewart, Read the Line, PGA Championship. We're back coast to coast right after this.
Enter into the magical world of McLuck.com, where even the smallest of spins can win real cash prizes. Adventure into over 1,000 of the best Vegas-style slot games. So what are you waiting for? Unlock your free welcome offer today. Join the fun where winners play and players win.
knows how to show love to our everyday heroes. So if you're a first responder, you are in for some perks. Lots of hotels and casino offer big discounts to any first responders who can show valid work or volunteer ID. So treat yourself to a discounted stay. You deserve it. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
The Warriors' future was uncertain. Are they going to break it up? Steve Kerr coming back. They get Jimmy Butler, and they surge all the way through, and now they're through the first round.
The Warriors have guys, because of how special their star three trio is, they can make the guys around them better. They can elevate the way that they played. And we saw that. Steph Curry, 3 points in the first half, steps up in the second half, 19 points in the second half to carry them home.
Newswire. Only on SportsGrid.
Under him was Sharon Moore, who also participated in the cheating scandal with Connor Stallions. So you know what happens to him? He doesn't lose his job. He doesn't get a 10-year show cause. He gets to keep his job, and they go, we're just going to suspend you for 2 games next season.
Now, all of a sudden, they're coming out with everything that we knew to be pretty much true when it was happening. Yeah, they were cheating. It was like Belichick and the videotapes, right?
The early line. Only on SportsGrid. The game is on. The stakes are high. But the action isn't just on the field.
He's rearranging that ring. Get it inside!
SportsGrid's in-game live. Your ultimate second screen experience.
A little flyer, couple of 15.5 point live line.
Every prop, every play, every day.
Anything can happen. It's complete chaos.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
I got to tell you, your boy Stewie is something else. This guy. How about this guy? I mean, honestly, at some level, he may be in that echelon, top shelf status. You know what I mean? Like there comes a point where you just have to, he may be initiated into that, stratosphere type top shelf status.
Got to put him there. He's absolutely working on it. Some good stuff for him out there at Quail Hollow. As he gets ready. And he does think he says it's starting to get hot and sticky there. He thinks it's going to start to, things are going to start to change. I don't think you're going to see too many more 60-foot putts rolling in tomorrow, he said. So we shall see. All right,
I've already 10 today.
Yeah, it's been quite the day. Look at Adam Scott at 4 under now, sitting here at the 15th hole. Adam Scott, Cam Davis's solo lead now at 6 under through 15. We'll see if he can finish off these last couple holes. And that is a monstrous first-round leader. I'm pretty sure Cam Davis was around 110 or 120 to 1, something like that.
Just put one in from about 200 yards out with a long stick.
Almost jarred it. Look at that. Great shot by Bezuidenhout. All right, here we go. Baseball. A few things from last night. Dodgers beat the A's 9-3. Got started fairly quickly for the Dodgers last night. And that was with his 3rd leadoff homer of the year. Ohtani on Sportsnet LA.
Seen fastball hitting team in baseball since late April. There's a high drive. The right field, forget about it. Ohtani with a leadoff shot.
He's no judge.
He's no judge. That is very true. But he did get all of that one. That was a shot that he hit to lead off that game last night. The Dodgers called up, how about this? The rich get richer. Their number 1 prospect in their system, catcher Dalton Rushing.
Dalton Connect?
They DFA'd their backup catcher, Austin Barnes, who'd been with them forever. So Rushing now with the big club, along with the Fresh Prince, Will Smith.
Give him like a farewell, like, thanks for everything. You did a great job here. Now get out.
Yeah, he's a great guy. He's a great family man. We love her. Now leave. The door's over there. Just go ahead. Just get out of here. Padres beat the Angels 5-1. They had a 3-run homer from Xander Bogaerts in the first that held up. Astros beat the Royals 4-3. Rangers beat the Rockies 8-3. The Marlins beat the Cubs. Now, look, I'm taking credit for this one.
Nice job.
For the Taters yesterday. I know it wasn't on the board, but I was very
You called
specific
it.
that I was adding Kyle Stowers at 7-1.
Ding,
Not
ding.
one, but two on FanDuel Sportsnet.
What?
Remarkable turnaround for this young man who flies this in the air deep down the right field line. Looking up in the corner is Kyle Tucker, and that is gone. Kyle Stowers with his second long ball of the night. It's the third now for the Marlins, and they lead 3-0.
Deepest part of the ballpark at Wrigley. Nice shot by the kid. He's got a bat, no doubt about it.
He certainly does. How about the Pirates raising the Jolly Roger at Citi Field last night, 4-0 over the Mets? Good win for the Buccos.
That's the first 4 runs they've scored in a month.
It probably is. The Tigers keep getting it done. Another walk-off win over the Red Sox last night. Here's your boy, the kid from Jersey, Justin Henry Malloy, walking it off on FanDuel Sportsnet.
2-0. Malloy over second and down. Keep on celebrating, Gritty Tigers.
Honestly, this guy, AJ Hinch, can really manage and cheat.
Yeah.
And he's got himself a ball club. Best record in the majors now, right? The Tigers, they mean business.
Yeah.
I know it's the middle of May, but they are legit and they're fun. And I need them in the postseason again. I mean, the window's open. Last year, they had just this glorious second half run to get in. And they, made their mark. And now they're back. You know what they remind me of? It's like the Oilers and the Timberwolves making these double runs. And the Pacers, double run. I think the Tigers are a double run team in terms of getting back into the postseason. And this time doing better than the last.
They are still 14-1 to win the World Series. They are the 5th choice on the board, so they've been rising here. And they're now the 2nd choice for the AL at plus 550, behind, of course, the Yankees. So they are the 2nd choice.
Let's get real here. I think that the Tigers are better than the Yankees. I really do. And so I'm just gonna stick with that and see how it plays out. It's it's too early to start predicting things of the end game, but I think they're overall, they're pitching. I mean, I think Fried and Skubal are on kind of in concert with one another. They're both really good. I think Skubal's better than Max Fried. I think Fried's numbers are phenomenal, but I think, and I'll ask you this, I think Skubal's more dominating. I'm not afraid of Max Fried. I just know he's a brilliant pitcher. I think he's a smart pitcher. I think Skubal's a dominator.
Skubal is a dominating pitcher. There's no question about that. Now, last night was the first night that he was, he was touched up a little bit, but he's not going to go. He's not going to go 6-7 shutout every single time he goes out. He had a pretty good run before last night. And the amazing thing is, you remember last year, 3 teams made it out of the Central. And again, the Central, the Tigers are 29-15. Cleveland's 25-18. The Royals are 25-20. And Minnesota's won 11 in a row. And they're still in 4th. They've won 11 in a row, and they're still in 4th place in the Central at 24-20. So that 11 in a row just got them back in the mix with everybody. Central's been good again.
Listen, you and I have been down this road so many times together over like 12 years. Can we just keep the Twins out of this? Like, honestly, they're so boring.
Right, I know.
They win 40 in a row. I still don't want them in the playoffs. They suck. They never get it done.
They do.
I mean, the days of Kirby Puckett are long gone. They suck. And everyone can hate me there all they want. I mean, I'm just not coming back to the Land of Lakes.
And when we got off the air yesterday, the Yankees got homers from Goldschmidt and Judge to beat the Mariners 3-2
Oh, what a
in
shot
Seattle.
by Goldschmidt and Judge. Oh, my God. It was beautiful.
knows how to show love to our everyday heroes. So if you're a first responder, you are in for some perks. Lots of hotels and casino offer big discounts to any first responders who can show valid work or volunteer ID. So treat yourself to a discounted stay. You deserve it. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
Still underdogs at home, on the road, and all of these games. It's time for people to start understanding it's a legitimate team that has a chance not only to win the series against Cleveland, but also maybe even go all the way to the NBA Finals.
I think a lot of the focus has been on why the Cavs have not played particularly well. A lot of that is due to injury, of course, but I think that's taking too much credit away from what the Pacers have done.
Newswire. Only on SportsGrid.
Derek Carr has called it a career after 11 NFL seasons.
I think they knew before the draft that they had to make a move at this point. And by the way, Derek Carr did have a pretty good career, made as many Pro Bowls as Eli Manning. So based on that, he should go to the Hall of Fame like Eli Manning. Well, Eli Manning does have a couple rings at that point, but always wanted to take a shot at Manning, who should not actually be in the Hall of Fame. Shouldn't be questioned, an under 500 quarterback for his career. Stop the Manning.
The early line. Only on SportsGrid. The game is on. The stakes are high, but the action isn't just on the field.
He's rearranging that rim. Get it inside!
SportsGrid's in-game live. Your ultimate second screen experience.
A little flyer, couple 18.5 point live line.
Every prop, every play, every day.
Anything can happen. It's complete chaos.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
So the young gun is coming home from San Diego State, as you know, on a red eye tonight, Carver High. And he did get straight A's, Dean's List. And it is truly amazing considering the amount of reefer he smokes. Are we on the air yet? We are. Don't talk about.
Yes.
Okay, so it looks as the outlook is clear to me. I've seen, some people, like last night in the game, a guy said to me, "What do you see?" And he gave me one of these. "What are you seeing?" I said, "No defense is what I see." Then somebody asked me, my wife said, "What do you see for the summer for young Gunner?" And I'm like, "That's I see worthlessness. No job. and overall worthlessness all summer long." And I told him, "When you turn 23, it's been nice knowing you. I'm not giving you anything ever again."
Well, look, it's good. You got him home for a couple months there in the summer.
He is fun. He's more fun than these hoes ganging up on me. These chicks ganging up on me, Carver High. Now, these women have ganged up on me with everything. Every little thing I get ganged up on. And then last weekend, she had some house guest in here ganging up on me. It was 3 of them. Had enough
Can't
of them.
have it.
I need to even things out and bring the young gun in. Then we got a couple. We got battle lines drawn. We got men against the women.
We got 2 games tonight in baseball for us. Let's get those in and the homers because time is of the essence.
Haters.
Astros and Rangers will play 4 games this weekend. This is part of what I guess Major League Baseball is dubbing rivalry weekend. Wait till tomorrow. I give you the slate. I mean, it's like a rivalry weekend. Cubs, White Sox, Mets, Yankees, Dodgers, Angels, all these big rivalry weekends. But here's the first one. Astros will have Hunter Brown tonight against Jacob deGrom in Arlington. Rangers minus 130 plus $110 for Houston and a 6.5. Jeez.
How do I not take your boy Hunter Brown with his ERA in the ones and a 6-1 record? I know deGrom is good. I know it's a Globe. I love value and plus money.
Everybody loves that for tonight. So there you go. I like the over in that game, actually. I don't believe that that's going to be some 2-1 game. I think that we'll get... I know Brown's been awesome. deGrom's been pretty good, too. I think that we'll get some runs, at least more than 6.5. And finally, late night, we will have the A's and the Dodgers one more time around here at Chavez Ravine. Osvaldo Bido goes for the A's. Matt Sauer is pitching. He's kind of like an opener type for the Dodgers, who are minus 210, plus $1.75 for the A's, and a 9.5. Big total.
I'm going over the rainbow, and I'm run lining it at minus 105 with sauerkraut over libido.
Sauerkraut over libido. Why not for this evening? And now, look, there's only 2 games, but that doesn't mean that we can't find a couple long balls tonight,
Make
right?
money.
I mean, we got to be able to get a few. 2 from the Dodger A game. I'm going with Rooker tonight. The Dodgers are going to throw a lot of arms at them. I think we'll be able to find one that Rooker can tape deep, plus 340 for him. Max Muncy's been slowly getting hot. He hit one last night, has 2 in the last week, plus 420. And here's the thing. Is Ohtani going to homer, Scotty? Probably. I can't pay plus 175 for a guy to hit a home run. I just can't. I don't have the... It's just part of my principle. It's like the golf with guys under 10-1 to start the tournament.
Can't do it.
I can't do it. So I'm going to go with Muncy at plus 420 tonight. And in that Texas-Houston game, Wyatt Langford, 6-1. He's been hot, hitting some hard balls. We're going to get him going here, too. Some good exit velo lately for Wyatt Langford, plus 600.
He said to me at the gym playing ball, he goes, "What's with this guy hitting all these home run props?"
Oh, yeah.
And I go, listen, just get in on it. He goes, "What's with this guy?" I go, just shut up and get in on it. Like, what's the problem? Like, every day, Carver High setting the bar higher and higher and higher with his home run. I mean, the bell's ringing so much, I'm hearing ringing in my ears. We need to focus on just taking what he says, going to the window, making money, and stop acting like you're cooler or better than us. We set the bar. Carver High, Taters, run with it. Stop asking questions. Run with it.
Jason Tatum underwent surgery to repair a torn right Achilles tendon. That is obviously a season-ending injury, and you know that's long rehab. You're talking
that's a year.
That's a year.
I don't wish that on anybody. I don't. I hate that Achilles, knees and ankles. I don't like talking about them. I've said it a million times. But screw the Celtics.
Ferrall Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
Your college performance does not relate to the National Football League. It never does.
They played side by side with each other, and he wasn't as good as Quinn Ewers. That's an issue. That's a major issue.
It wasn't that it wasn't as good as Quinn Ewers.
Ever got to Texas?
It wasn't that it wasn't as good as Quinn Ewers. It was Quinn Ewers' program, which Steve Sarkisian made very clear the entirety of the time that Arch Manning was in Austin. So for you to argue that because Ewers is a 7th-round pick, Arch Manning is not that good and not deserving of being first overall is asinine. It is wrong.
It is incorrect. He's going to be number 1 overall. My whole thing was I'm buying
doing your thing now where you double down on a take
no, I'm not doing that. The best quarterback prospect to ever hit college football can't play
He's
over
not,
a 7th-round pick
were two
who didn't even play good.
Quarterback recruits in the history of the sport.
Quinn Ewers couldn't even play at Ohio State. He couldn't even play at Ohio State.
Quinn Ewers. Go look it up.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. I want this to be the place that people come to. There is going to be an energy to game time decisions that you will feel night in and night out. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune in to Game Time Decisions weekdays on SportsGrid.
one covers the NFL like Adam Kaplan, who's been doing it for almost 30 years, and he's our extraordinaire reporter for the NFL, covering the league for us on SportsGrid across the board and on Coast to Coast exclusively every week on Thursday. You can follow him at Kaplan NFL. He was on the national media call today for the exciting rollout of the NFL schedule for 25, and everyone's excited, and we like to call it win, loss, win, tie, win. How does it all get done?
Scott, it's funny. I've participated in a lot of these through Zoom over the years, and the one thing that it's very clear to me of everything we discussed today. In fact, it was an hour call. It was actually longer than usual. You could not be like, you could be a team like the Dallas Cowboys, right? But if you've got national appeal, that matters to the league, that matters to the broadcast partners in a major way. So let's go to week one, right? So you've got the Eagles hosting the Cowboys on the Thursday night game. A lot of us thought it should have been Washington, right? Washington was that team that came out of nowhere. We'll have a little bit more on them a little bit later here. But no, they went, the partners wanted, actually NBC wanted, because they've got the game and it'll also be on Peacock, but NBC wanted this game. I mean, and so did the NFL explain it very clearly. The Cowboys have an unbelievable brand. You really look at it, Scott, right? You've got the Yankees and you got the Cowboys, okay? Those are the two brands. You cannot go wrong with either one. And in the NFL, we've got the Cowboys. It's not like people think they're going to be 3-14. There's hope there that they'll bounce back. They're going to get Dak Prescott back after being 7-10 last season, and getting him back and the trade of George Pickens. They've got national appeal. And national appeal means a lot to the broadcast partners. That's why not only them, but the Chiefs, despite getting blown out in the Super Bowl, have the most primetime games. So appeal matters, and being a national team matters. The Eagles have 5 plus the Friday game on Amazon on Black Friday. So they're going to be on national TV a minimum of 6 times. And that matters. Obviously, they won the Super Bowl. So the thing that we keep hearing is, do you have national appeal? No matter what where your team is, kind of how they're thought of around the National Football League in terms of record. As long as you're competitive, you're going to be on a lot of national games. So that was one of the big things. And the other thing about flex scheduling, Scott, which I thought was fascinating, I hadn't even thought about this, but I think Mike North, who oversees scheduling, brought this up. Part of the flex scheduling is the ability to move a game that maybe is under the radar, right? You've got the Patriots and Mike Vrabel playing at the Titans. Now, both teams are not expected to be good. And this game is in week 7. That's along the lines of when flex scheduling starts. It starts as early as week 5. Well, let's say one of the teams is good, right? Let's say it's the Patriots start off very, very well, better than we expected. And you got Cam Ward, the first pick overall. That game would have appeal. If one of those teams is playing well, is over 500, that's a game that could be potentially flexed. So there are a lot of circumstances. It's not one size fits all. Sometimes games get flexed just because there's something going on with one of the teams.
So explain to me how the Amazon Web Services is involved in this.
Yeah, this is interesting. So one of the things I always laugh at is when they'll say, well, we use a lot of computers to do our scheduling. Well, in recent years, they've used AWS's Amazon Web Services to help schedule out different scenarios for the 272 regular season games. Now, a lot of things are taken into a place with this. So every team's got to let them know what the conflicts are. Like if you're a team in Philly, right? You've got the Phillies who potentially could be playing in October, being that they could be a playoff team. So you have to have the conflicts. Concerts are taken into consideration. When the hockey or basketball teams, because Scott, in your travels, in some complexes, you've got the football team, the baseball team, the hockey team, and the basketball team all playing around the same area, and you got to be careful with traffic and concerts. So that's taken into account. Rest, by the way, Scott. One of the things that I found interesting here is when they look at it's called the rest disparity. It's definitely a factor. It's not an overriding factor, but they do look at it because you don't want some teams getting an advantage over other teams in terms of rest. There's only so much you can do with it. And obviously, when you're a team that is playing on a Sunday night game. Let's say you're an East Coast team that plays Sunday night in Los Angeles. You're not going to ask them to travel back. They're not going to get home until late Monday morning. You're not going to ask them to play on the road the next week. So they take a look at this when they put all of the factors in their computer models. That stuff does matter. And by the way, still the most popular window, Scott, for scheduling is 4:25 Eastern. There's no question about that. That is a big deal to them. And this is an interesting situation, which I was not aware of. The NFL, and I would think this will be permanent. You know how the Lions get the 12:30 game on Thanksgiving? They're moving it to 1 Eastern. Why? They think they can get around 10 million extra viewers just by moving it a half an hour due to travel. So they're convinced that they're going to get a ton of more viewers and obviously listeners, or however you consume, by doing that. We'll see if it works out. But that's something just by moving it a half an hour that they're going to do that.
What is Rooney complaining about? He's saying there's too many late starts and West Coast starts for them and night starts for them on the road. He's already on record today complaining about the schedule.
And now, here's the thing, though. You can put in your requests, but here's another thing. This is okay, so you mentioned that with the Steelers. How about the Lions? All of their away games are not at the 1 o'clock window. They're at least 4 o'clock or they're at night. So that's a little odd quirk. The Eagles, the Super Bowl champions, do not have back-to-back home games all season. This is the first time the Eagles have gone through that since 2008. There's some really odd scheduling quirks. I know the NFL does everything they can to make sure these things don't happen, but there's only so much they can do. Oh, and by the way, with the rivals, Scott, I found this to be a little bit interesting. Some fans complain, well, why are you putting our division rival in week 1 or 2? The league says, look, they like that. They're putting important games early with rivals going against each other. Of course, you're going to do it also late in the season,
right?
When games matter. How about Washington? You want to talk about respect? The Commanders are going to play the Eagles week 16 and 18 with 1 week sandwich, week 17.
Why not?
In the middle. So exactly, Scott. The league's recognizing Washington's back. It's only taken them over 25 years, but they're back being a power. And it's been a long time, Scott, because of the stuff that happened with Daniel Snyder and how anemic that team was. They're getting total respect. And that's why Washington right now is one of those marquee teams. The league's telling you that. They're going to put them against Philly late in the season. That tells you where they're at.
So talk to me about the flex scheduling on the Sunday night football and how many times they're able to use it. And then they're doing it for Monday Night Football and Thursday Night Football. How does it work?
Yeah, so they've actually made another. They tweak them every year. So for Sunday Night Football, they could be used twice, but in weeks 5 through 10, and during the NFL's discretion in weeks 11 through 17. Also, and when they do that, it's not like they're going to do it on their own. They're going to talk to the league partners about it. And then Monday Night Football with the NFL's discretion in weeks 12 through 17, and Thursday Night Football could be used twice in weeks 13 through 17. The big deal, and it's very clear to me, they want to get the clunkers off of the late window because you don't want a team that's not as good as, like for instance, Scott, the Jets were the team that the NFL backed big time with Rodgers, okay? Rodgers was not himself last season. He had the 2 injuries. The Jets were terrible. They want to be able to flex out a team that was not quite as good as we all thought. The NFL, and I've talked to them about this for years, when they start getting their schedule together, they do take consideration how they project or forecast these teams to be. You're not going to get them all right. You're not like Denver come out of nowhere last year. We didn't know that. We didn't think Bo Nix as a rookie quarterback was going to be as good as they were. And that's why they want to have the ability to flex.
We'll look at these schedules when we come back.
Jason Tatum underwent surgery to repair a torn right Achilles tendon. That is obviously a season-ending injury, and you know that's long rehab. You're talking
that's a year.
That's a year.
I don't wish that on anybody. I don't. I hate that Achilles. Knees and ankles. I don't like talking about them. I've said it a million times. But screw the Celtics.
Ferrall Coast to Coast. Only on SportsGrid.
Your college performance does not relate to the National Football League. It never
They
does.
played side by side with each other, and he wasn't as good as Quinn Ewers. That's an issue. That's a major issue.
It wasn't that it wasn't as good as Quinn
they've ever
Ewers.
got to Texas.
It wasn't that it wasn't as good as Quinn Ewers. It was Quinn Ewers' program, which Steve Sarkisian
Why
made
would it
very
be Quinn
clear
Ewers'
the entirety of the time that Arch Manning was in Austin. So for you to argue that because Ewers is a 7th-round pick, Arch Manning is not that good and not deserving of being first overall is asinine. It is wrong. It is incorrect.
I just told you he's going to be number 1 overall. My whole thing was I'm buying
you're doing
him
your
because
thing now
I
where you
expect him to
double
have
down on a take
No, I'm
that
not
is
doing
incorrect
that. The
when I
best
show it's
quarterback
incorrect.
prospect to ever hit college football can't play
He's
over
not
a 7th-round
There were
pick
two
who didn't even
perfectly
play
rated
good.
quarterback
Stop
recruits
it.
in the history of the sport.
Quinn
Vince
Ewers couldn't
Young
even play at
and
Ohio
Quinn
State.
Ewers.
He couldn't even play at
Vince
Ohio
Young
State.
and Quinn Ewers. Go look it up.
The Early Line. Only on SportsGrid.
We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. I want this to be the place that people come to. There is going to be an energy to game time decisions that you will feel night in and night out. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune in to Game Time Decisions weekdays on SportsGrid.
We're talking to Adam Kaplan, our NFL insider, and he's so on the take for the Eagles, being from Philadelphia, that he has listed 8 weeks of their games as the, game of the week. And he starts it off with week 1, Cowboys, Eagles. Then week 2, Philly, Kansas City. Hold on. Week 10, Philly, Green Bay. Week 11, Detroit, Philly. Week 14, Philly Chargers. Week 16, Philly Washington. Week 17, Philly Buffalo. Week 18, of course, Commanders Philly. And then if he could, he told me in the break that if he could have posted playoff, wild cards, divisional semi, and conference title games, he would have listed those as well for the Eagles.
Hey, games of the week, man. We got the Bills on there. We got the Chiefs. It's just ridiculous how much respect the Chiefs are going to get. But yeah, look, week 1, we already talked about the Eagles and Cowboys. Eagles, by the way, 20-5 since 2000 in the season opener. Lions, Packers, and Ravens, Bills in week 1. And that Ravens-Bills game could actually have tiebreaker implications, so keep an eye on that. The debut of Cam Ward, the first pick overall at the Broncos. Travis Hunter, by the way, Scott, the Jaguars are planning on playing him mostly at receiver this season. Doesn't mean they can't change their mind. Hunter will make his debut for the Jaguars at home against the Panthers. And Abdul Carter will make his debut in the division for the Giants at the Commanders. And then the Commanders, again, getting respect. They play the Packers in week 2. You mentioned the Eagles. They'll play Super Bowl rematch in week 2. And by the way, the league did say today with that one, as opposed to putting it later, because the Super Bowl is still fresh in people's minds. Let's say you put that in week 10. Well, by then, people have forgotten about the Super Bowl. The Chiefs are obviously going to have revenge on their mind. Week 3, the Lions at the Ravens. And don't forget, the Lions now, Scott, have 2 new coordinators. John Morton, who called the plays years ago for the Jets, and Kelvin Shepard, you might remember as a linebacker. He's the new defense coordinator. That is a big storyline for the Lions, Scott. How much of a drop-off, if at all, they're going to have losing their 2 coordinators. In week 4, once again, the Chiefs, and it's the Ravens at Chiefs in week 4. You got to love that matchup. Week 6, the Lions again. If you remember the home opener 2 years ago for the Chiefs lost that game because they were without a couple key players. They're going to host the Lions again. Washington playing at Kansas City, Scott, in week 8. You look at all these games we just outlined for the Commanders. Is this too soon for us to put them on that pedestal? They came out of nowhere last season, Scott. Now, I would say comparatively to the Giants in 22, remember they came out of nowhere. Brian Daboll's first year. and they made the playoffs. They've been downtrodden since then. The difference is the Washington's roster is way better. They addressed a lot of their issues, but I just cannot see seeing the Commanders being as good, because once you come out of nowhere, teams know it, and they're going to be better prepared for you. The Chiefs once again, and Carver High's team, they're at Buffalo, one of the best rivalries of the National Football League, the Chiefs and Bills in Week 9. We mentioned the Eagles earlier, Eagles-Packers in Week 10, and the Eagles owned them last season, beating them twice. Then this Week 11 game could be a bloodbath in Philly. Lions at Philly. This is, in fact, Nick Sirianni beat them a couple years ago, Week 13. The Packers at Lions. And the Packers, Scott, with them, it's real simple. They're a great regular season team. They do not do well in the playoffs. They got to get past the Lions. And don't forget about the return of Aiden Hutchinson come back from his broken leg. And then, by the way, Week 14, the Chargers host the Eagles. The Eagles have owned the Rams in SoFi. Can they go there again? I could tell you, Scott, the Eagles take over any Los Angeles team. I remember when the Eagles played in Week 17, actually in the 17th season when they won the Super Bowl, they played at the Chargers in the old Home Depot Stadium when the Chargers were relocated. And there were more Eagles fans than Charger fans. I also went to the Eagles-Rams game in 17 in LA. They had like 30 or 40,000 people at the Coliseum. They travel well. The bottom line is, when you look at the schedule, it's dominated, when we highlight, dominated by teams the league is expecting to be very good. They're not always perfect when they prognosticate. You notice we don't have your Steelers here a lot. It's because not a lot of people think the Steelers are going to be there.
So you have that sandwiched Philly-Buffalo game in Week 17 in the B-Low, sandwiched between those two Commanders games at D.C. in Week 16, at home at the Link in Week 18. That'll be interesting. I want to ask you about the Chiefs Chargers in Brazil on Friday on YouTube. They're going to give everyone that game for free. They're so generous because the rest of the season they're going to fleece you for all your money.
Yeah, it is interesting, though, because the Chiefs have owned them in recent years, Scott. The Chargers, though, I missed on them last year. That was a team I did not see. I just didn't see them to being as good. They've had a very aggressive offseason. That's one, Scott, that division to me, based on what's happened to the Chiefs the last couple seasons, that division, the AFC West, could be up for grabs here. I know Chiefs fans think I'm probably out of my mind based on what's happened in that rivalry. The Chiefs have won the last 7, but that roster that the Chargers put together is way better than people know comparatively to last season. And the Chiefs have got the revamped offensive line, brand new left side of the offensive line. They went through 4 left tackles last season. It was a disaster. You saw what happened in the Super Bowl. Where has been their downfield offense? That is the one thing that I know that, from what I understand, they're going to be working on. But, man, I'm telling you right now, it's not the Chiefs anymore in the AFC. It's the Bills are right there. They also had an aggressive offseason. We just mentioned the Chargers. To me, Scott, that AFC right now, and the Ravens are right there, Scott, that AFC right now is up for grabs.
So how about the Fields against Rodgers Week 1, Steelers at Jets? You think that's going to happen?
Well, if Rodgers signs it, it's funny. So Mike North, again, who oversees the schedule, and said, hey, they put it on the schedule, and obviously they're hopeful that Rodgers will show up, but they're not worried about it. But, Fields, by the way, that's the definite debut of Justin Fields, who's going to be the starter by contract structure for the Jets for at least 2 seasons. That's going to be a fun one.
Wow. Adam Kaplan unveiling all of the skinny necessary for the season ahead in the NFL Pain Day style. Everything you need to know, you just got it. You're good to go. Adam, great job.
Right, man.
Jason Tatum underwent surgery to repair a torn right Achilles tendon. That is obviously a season-ending injury, and you know that's long rehab. You're talking
that's a year.
That's a year.
I don't wish that on anybody, I don't. I hate that Achilles, knees and ankles. I don't like talking about them. I've said it a million times. But screw the Celtics.
Ferrall Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
Your college performance does not relate to the National Football League. It never does.
They played side by side with each other, and he wasn't as good as Quinn Ewers. That's an issue. That's a major issue.
It wasn't that it wasn't as good as Quinn
Ewers. Ever got to Texas.
It wasn't that it wasn't as good as Quinn Ewers. It was Quinn Ewers' program, which Steve Sarkisian made very clear the entirety of the time that Arch Manning was in Austin. So for you to argue that because Ewers is a 7th-round pick, Arch Manning is not that good and not deserving of being first overall is asinine. It is wrong. It is incorrect.
He's going to be number 1 overall. My whole thing was I'm buying
you're doing your thing now where you double down on a take
no, I'm not doing that. The best quarterback prospect to ever hit college football can't play
He's
over
not,
a 7th-round
There were
pick
two
who didn't even
perfectly
play
rated
good.
quarterback recruits in the history of the sport.
Quinn Ewers couldn't even play at Ohio State. He couldn't even play at Ohio State.
Quinn Ewers. Go look it up.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. I want this to be the place that people come to. There is going to be an energy to game time decisions that you will feel night in and night out. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune in to Game Time Decisions weekdays on SportsGrid.
Everybody loves leftovers.
Everybody does love leftovers, that's for sure. Now, you just did a lot of schedule stuff with Adam. I had a bunch of these things.
I did a lot of Eagles talk with Adam, is what I did.
You did do a lot of Eagles talk. The Steelers schedule, there it is in full for you. If you would like to see it, of course, I know that they've already sent you a bill, so there you go. Eagles open on, the Steelers, he talks so much Eagles, I even just said Eagles. Steelers open on the road at MetLife against the Jets. There it is. They play, of course, home opener week number 2 against Seattle. Both Raven games late in the season. They like doing that as well now. They're Steelers-Bills. It's on the calendar for you. Week 13 at the Steelers. 4:25 Sunday kickoff. Steelers-Bills. How about that?
That's a game I'm going to go to for sure because I got to be honest with you. I think the rest of their home games suck. I think their schedule's brutal. In terms of going to see the games, like the Dolphins and the only really good games are the Raven game and the Bills game. Let's just face facts. Let's cut through the cheese
Packers
here.
Too, right? Packers is a Sunday night game. That's okay. That's all right.
That's problematic for me. Sunday night games are problematic for me. I have to, I don't like to take off and miss shows for my enjoyment at a Steeler game. It's just not something I do a lot of. So I give those away. If I can go, I go on a Sunday 1:00 or 4:00 at worst, and I fly out Monday morning, and I'm home hopefully to get back on the show by 3. But I got to tell you, we live in New York City, so now we have an airport now that has no runways and no air traffic controllers. So everybody's out doing blow and smoking weed and drinking. And then one of the runways they just dug up and they started burying bodies there. So now the airport one of the largest airports in the world no longer functions. So, you go to Pittsburgh to a game and you want to fly home on Monday, good effing luck. You have to fly out of LaGuardia or JFK now. Newark Airport has become a heroin addict den.
It certainly has. I have the Bills schedule as well. They open with 4 their first 5 at home. which is you got to get off to a nice start. Four of your first 5 games are at home. You got to be able to do that. There you see their win total, 11.5.
Look at them.
For them. Now, look, I have some primetime games. It's not like we can't do these tomorrow. I might save some of these for tomorrow. Maybe we'll do some schedule stuff tomorrow.
Save it tomorrow.
And I'm definitely saving all the week 1 spreads. I have that too. So I think tomorrow we need to take more time with that because it's not fair. I mean, I can't blow through them in 30 seconds. It's just not right.
How crooked are the week 1 spreads for people that the sports books put out? I mean, how dirty is that business?
We'll look at all those tomorrow on Coast to Coast. 3 teams have 0 primetime games. The Browns, the Titans, and the Saints. No primetime this year. That's good for us. That's what that means.
That's because they're all going to stink.
Yes. Speaking of the Browns, Shedeur Sanders and Dylan Gabriel are reportedly part of a wide-open quarterback competition. Good luck.
It should be fun watching them have a torturous first season.
What a disaster. Nike co-founder Phil Knight says he's not interested in buying the Portland Trail Blazers. That is a no from him. I told you that Sahith Theegala withdrew from the PGA Championship last minute with a neck injury. Smalley took his spot. He shot 4 under today. Former UFC Women's Champ Holly Holm still wants to scrap. I mean, she still wants to throw
I love
hands.
that girl.
She signs with Jake Paul's MVP, books a June boxing match against Yolanda Vega. Not the lottery woman, right? That's not the lottery.
What?
Not fighting the lottery woman, is she? Who is she fighting?
What is happening? Ferrall finished Dick's Sporting Goods.
Vega, New York Lottery.
That's her.
Remember the lady used to do the lottery drawings?
Yes.
Right? Yolanda Vega.
Dick's Sporting Goods is buying Foot Locker for $2.3 billion. Texas mom allegedly bought weapons and gear for her young son to shoot up the middle school and kill everyone in exchange for babysitting his siblings. I'll buy you guns and explosives if you'll just watch the kids for a couple hours while I go out drinking. We'll see you tomorrow at 3.
Your college performance does not relate to the National Football League. It never does.
They played side by side with each other, and he wasn't as good as Quinn Ewers. That's an issue. That's a major issue.
It wasn't that it wasn't as good as Quinn Ewers.
Ever got to Texas.
It wasn't that it wasn't as good as Quinn Ewers. It was Quinn Ewers' program, which Steve Sarkisian made very clear the entirety of the time that Arch Manning was in Austin. So for you to argue that because Ewers is a 7th-round pick, Arch Manning is not that good and not deserving of being first overall is asinine. It is wrong. It is incorrect.
I told you he's going to be number 1 overall. My whole thing was I'm buying
you're doing your thing now where you double down on a tape that is incorrect.
The best quarterback prospect to ever hit college football can't play
He's
over
not
a 7th-round pick.
There were 2
who didn't even
perfectly
play
rated
good.
quarterback recruits in the history of the sport.
Quinn Ewers couldn't even play at Ohio State. He couldn't even play at Ohio State.
Quinn Ewers. Go look it up.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. I want this to be the place that people come to. There is going to be an energy to game time decisions that you will feel night in and night out. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune in to Game Time Decisions weekdays on SportsGrid.